What's up guys, my name's Dychronic, you're here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about how to get the Braytech Osprey exclusive from the Strange Terrain Nightfall, how to get it very quickly, how to get very effectively, the common mistakes that people make when it comes to farming. In general, it's a two-step process. First, you have to get a high personal best. Most people don't know this, high personal best on that particular Nightfall, which is Strange Terrain. And then afterwards, you're gonna farm out a bunch of very quick, low-scoring runs to be able to get through as many of them as you can. The first step making it so the second step has a higher chance of getting you that Nightfall drop. I have proved this works in the past with Sabbath and Song. I got 3 duty bounds in 6 Nightfalls in the past tree of probabilities. I got 2 DFAs in 4 Nightfalls. In the past Arms Dealer, I've gotten like 3 tilt fuses in maybe like 8 or 9 Nightfalls. It is ridiculous how quickly you can get these. Now, these are not the average amount of times you have to do these for high scoring stuff. It's possible that I just got really lucky, but I have a feeling after so many tests that my strategy works. So again, in this video, I'm going to be firstly talking about how to get the high score on this Nightfall and all you need and all the stuff that we use. And secondly, the best way to kill the boss in like 1 second to just kill him really quickly. And of course, we should not forget the irrelevant but appreciated adorable puppies that I put in so many of my videos. Anyways, let's get into the first one, the high score ones. If you have questions on this, leave them down in the comments down below. I'm going to try to be brief because I do rant a lot. So firstly, let's talk about the challenge card. As far as disadvantages for light level goes, I recommend starting as easy as you physically can, so perhaps don't even put a disadvantage. Alternatively, you can put a 25 disadvantage, so you can make it so it's at basically 0. That'll make it so you're 25 down at exactly 360, which is the Nightfall difficulty. What we did was we did a 40 difficulty. Now, we play this game a lot, and we have a lot of the weapons and everything we could possibly want, so don't just go straight to our level. Make it easy first and then work your way up. Trust me, it will save you so much hassle. Secondly, we used Arc Singe for our supers as well as our heavy weapon. We'll explain that in a little bit. Thirdly, we used 3 disadvantages. First, we used Match Game, which means you have to match the shield type to do basically any damage to it, and this is actually pretty crucial because it is an insane multiplier of up to 1 times adding to it. Secondly, Famine, which honestly we didn't even notice. As long as you're switching weapons a lot, changing weapons around to use different weapons, you'll get tons and tons of heavies. And then lastly, we used Extinguish because if we find ourselves all dying and having to respawn, we lose a lot of points and a lot of time that we just didn't want to use, so using Extinguish was just a logical course of option. In general, these are the best to use, the highest amount of extra score with the easiest amount of doing. So now let's talk about the classes and subclasses. We went with 1 Hammer Titan. So now let's talk about the classes and subclasses. Firstly, we went with the Hammer Titan with Synthocept so that his super is more powerful. Secondly, we went with 2 Arc Strider Hunters, both with Radiant Flux on them. As far as weapons go, we went with basically Better Devil's Mononon Borealis. You can switch out those primary and secondary to whatever you find the most comfortable with, as long as you have a long range and a close range weapon. As for Borealis, I highly recommend use Borealis. We tried things like Acreus, EP Shotgun, we tried Wordcliff. In general, Borealis will solve so many problems that I'm going to be talking about. For the most part, there are only going to be arc shields throughout this whole thing. There's going to be like wizards with some flame shields, but for the most part, the biggest enemy, the knights, are going to have arc shields all the time. So with Borealis to get the Ionic Return, switching to Arc when you have Arc Singe already makes it very effective. You pop the shield with 1 shot, and then 2 headshots should kill pretty much any knight that's not a yellow bar. To make the Borealis the most effective that it can be, I highly recommend with your particular class, use the things that make your weapon automatically reload. So with the Titan, use Rally Barricade to automatically reload your weapon without making it lose Ionic Return. With the Hunter, use the Dodge that makes it so it reloads your weapon. And finally, a Warlock with Lunafaction will make it so you can reload in your Rift. Now obviously our strategy doesn't call for a Warlock, but if you ever find yourself using Borealis and you want a Warlock, then you can use it with Lunafaction. In general, the general strategy, if you don't care about all the little bits and pieces and the little details, Titan, use your Hammer Strike on the big boys like the Knights or the Ogres or the Boss. Whenever you need extra damage, you can use your super to survive any melee attack. So you go in for that Hammer Strike, pop the super immediately to survive. The 2 Hunters, their Arc Striders and Arc Staff should be used basically just for killing all the Knights. Anytime you see Knights or a lot of enemies that you can't handle, pop an Arc Strider and you should be able to slay all of them. I'll mention in particular areas that they're the most useful. Titan, use your super whenever there's a bunch of enemies in the fray, or for example, whenever there's a wizard to kill in certain areas, you need to kill wizards, and you're going to be the only one with fire damage, because your energy weapon should be set to arc for the most damage, and your Borealis should be pretty much stuck on arc so you can keep your ionic return. The Titan, you really need to make sure you're there to be able to take down these solar shields of all the wizards, whether you're using your grenades or you're using your hammer strike. Fusion grenades might make it very, very useful so you can take down the match game shields. So anyways, let's talk about the particular parts that I find most difficult. So start off the mission, there's going to be first area with enemies, there's going to be a yellow bar. Use your Borealis on this guy. This guy is going to take a lot of shots. Use your Borealis, he pops his shield, he comes out, free headshots right after that. Make sure everybody gets as many ionic returns as possible. There's going to be a couple of knights in this area. Everybody should get ionic return from this first engagement, and that will help you a lot coming future. Proceed normally, be as defensive as possible. Shoot the enemies from like your standing point to stand together. Use as much grenades as you can. If you find that certain enemies are difficult, like the Vanquishers, use your Borealis on them. Again, you should get plenty of heavy when it comes to these fights. Just switch your weapons as much as you can. One of the harder parts is going to be this little ramp leading up to a door. There's going to be 2 knights you have to kill for the balls to destroy the crystals. Just fight your way up normally. Kill the regular guys first, especially those sniper acolytes. Then when you move up on those knights, just use Borealis to pop them from range. You should be able to, again, kill them with 1 shot to the shield, and 2 headshots should kill them, if not make them very weak. And of course, make sure you use your rally barricades and your dodges to keep your Borealis with ionic return as long as possible. A little later on, you'll find yourself in this area where like 4 knights are worshipping a little circle where a wizard comes out. This is going to be another little hard area. I highly recommend you use your supers in this area to clean up the guys. First Arc Strider can use his super to clear out the knights and maybe even the wizard, or you can use Borealis on the wizard. Second one should clear up the acolytes or any extra knights and thralls that show up. You should be able to get a ton of them. Be careful of the cursed thralls that spawn on the right, but they always do spawn on the right away from the other ones, so kill those. Your goal is to try to get as many super kills as possible because you'll spawn more orbs for your teammates. Again, your Titan should use his super whenever he feels the most comfortable. Maybe he should have used it on the knights that showed up, or perhaps the wizard because he had a flame shield. Maybe he can save it for the thralls at the end if you don't have another arc staff super by that point. Or you could use it in the next fight right after this so that you can spawn some orbs for your arc staff boys who need to use their arc staff pretty much immediately after that. As you move along, you'll enter a room with a big ogre in it. They'll either be shriekers or ogres, one on left, one on right. Does not matter which one they are. As soon as you kill that guy, the knights will spawn on the left. Use an arc staff to clean up those guys, as well as the adds that accompany them. Throw the 2 balls into the crystals, and then the knights on the right will spawn. I would circle along through the front side where you came in through the area, and not along the back side so that you don't get so exposed. As soon as you throw that second ball into the crystal, the other knights will start spawning again. Use another arc staff, clean up the knights. You should be able to last long enough with a Radiant Flux to kill both of them. If not, pop a super with your Titan, or just use Borealis to clean them up. As soon as you get all 4 crystals down, the ogre's gonna break out of his shield, and as soon as you do enough damage to the ogre, he'll spawn adds. Very important thing here, do not kill the ogre as fast as possible. So put the ogre at about a 1/3 health, and then adds will start to spawn. Kill off all these adds, because these are all elite acolytes. That's a lot of points. Kill off all those guys, and then finish off the ogre. Because if you kill the ogre first, those other guys will just teleport away. And after finishing this, you should arrive at the boss fight. The boss fight is pretty much the same as any boss fight in the game. Kill the adds first, and then attack the boss. You want to stay safe from the boss as much as you can while killing off the adds, and then once you finish the adds, then shoot the boss. This applies to pretty much any boss in the game. It's the same no matter what you're doing. Kill the adds, and then focus the boss. This boss in particular has a bunch of immunity phases, basically just giving you adds and knights to kill. You kill the knights to get the balls to destroy the crystals. Sometimes he spawns in a couple of wizards, which again, use your Titan to break the fire shields on these guys. And then you'll have more knights and whatnot. I personally recommend that you stay as a group as much as possible. If you find that you're getting overwhelmed by adds, then rotate as a group to the other side from like left to right or right to left. Sometimes you can go along the back if the boss is pressed into you too much. You can actually go along the back near the portal side, which is actually a very safe area to go if the boss is not standing there. Again, biggest strategy, take care of the adds. Don't get overwhelmed by thralls or overwhelmed by the knights. Use your Borealis to just totally melt the knights. If you have Arc Strider supers, use an Arc Strider to take care of 2 knights at a time. So kill one on one side, rush over to the other side, kill the other one, As soon as you break the crystals, his shield will disappear. You can damage him again. After doing enough damage phase, the boss will start to run at you and press into you. He should not pass the rocks, but you will probably have to rotate a lot to stay away from the boss. And you just keep doing this over and over again. It's really not that complicated. Kill the ads, stay away from the boss, stay together as a group and rotate as a group. Use your Borealis on the knights, the wizards, and the boss to do a ton of freaking damage. And then use your super whenever you panic or you want to kill off the knights very quickly. And that's pretty much it. Once you do end up killing Nocris, you'll get the chest, you'll finish off, and you'll get a high score. And then the next time you do it, you should be able to up it up by like maybe 5 levels in your disadvantages and pretty much keep everything else the same. Again, start easy, work your way up. Anyways, that's pretty much the high score. If you had questions again, let me know in the comments down below. This was just a very brief showing. As far as the farming, after you finish your high score Nightfall, then you're going to want to do some very, very quick prestige runs on the lower scores. The best way to do this is to go to your Nightfall card, make it so that there's no light disadvantage, put it on Void Burn, put on Heavyweight, and then I personally prefer putting on Momentum because you're going to be running through a lot of this mission. Everybody else should have Escalation Protocol shotguns or 1 tractor cannon and 2 Escalation Protocol shotgun, or alternatively, you could have 3 ward clips because that does work for the boss killing as well. You should also have 1 Titan with Hammer Strike, so the Fire Titan, and then 1 Warlock with Lunafaction and make it so he has Empowering Rift. Run through the mission as quickly as you can, skip all the enemies you don't need to fight. With Momentum, you should be able to get your shield back very, very easily. In ours, we didn't have Momentum, and I was dying a lot while running. Momentum really, really does help. Once you get used to it, it is definitely a boon and not as a disadvantage. Once you get to the boss fight, all you're going to want to do is exactly what I show you in the video. You're going to first kill off all the knights. Once you do kill off the knights, the boss is going to spawn. Hit him with Hammer Strike right when he gets to the spot where he stops. Throw down a Lunafaction Rift right there with Empowering, and everybody just start unloading right there and then. Tractor Cannon hitting him, Escalation Protocol shotguns hitting him, just dump into him as quickly as physically possible, and you should be able to kill him before he goes immune. Alternatively, I saw a video by Arrow just recently where you can use 3 ward cliffs with Empowering, Lunafaction Rift, and no Hammer Strike Titan. So technically Wardcliff will do more DPS, so if you want to use that, and it is easier for you to use that, then do use that. And that's pretty much it. If you do not kill him on that first phase, it's okay. We had the same problem until we figured it out and figured out exactly how to do it. It takes you a couple tries to figure it out, then just proceed normally, kill off the guys you need to kill, go again to try to do another burst phase. You should be able to get him in 2 phases because he's not going to immediately go to shield. He's going to wait for you to put a little damage into it. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's the video. I realize it's a bit of a long one because there's a lot of particular things on these high score Nightfalls that people have problems with. If you guys wanted to see full gameplays instead of like little clips and cuts and stuff, let me know in the comments down below. I can definitely do that next time. And I can also do repeats for the Nightfalls that have been changed because of the new modifiers and all that stuff. But yeah, that's the video for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.